Green light?
Okay, yep,
Okay.
that's it.
For the record, my name is John Poole, CPA, hired to perform the state-required annual audit. If you don't mind, let me have you go to page 19. When I say state-required audit, just want to kind of mention to the board what it is we as auditors do, and that's really three things. One, make sure that we provide to the state the financial information that they require. Truth of the matter, Ben does a great job of that, so we as auditors don't have to spend a lot of time doing that. And I certainly believe that this report, just like years previous, includes the information that the state would require us to have. And so the two things that we do related to the audit are, one, make sure that the city's receiving the monies that they should be receiving, whether that's from the annual property tax, monthly utility billings, the miscellaneous, whether it's police fines, fees from the pool, golf course, those kind of things. Also, to make sure, we're getting the monies we're supposed to be getting from the state and from the county. And then once we receive these monies, making sure we're handling those monies in accordance with our city policies and state guidelines. The city is involved in several grant programs, looking to make sure that the grant monies we receive, that we're handling those correctly and that we're following the instructions and guidance in those grant agreements. And I certainly do believe that the city's getting the money that's due them. You have as many property tax parcels, you're obviously going to have some folks that are delinquent with those, but we do a good job of tracking that, and then of course getting that across the block to the county. So I think we're good there. Same thing with utilities. We're going to have some folks that don't pay from time to time, but the utility department does a good job of monitoring those and cutoffs where appropriate. So as an auditor, I really feel like the monies we're getting, that we are getting the monies we're supposed to be getting. And then the third thing that we do as auditors is making sure the money that this board approves through the annual audit, that first of all, we're spending the money only on city business. We certainly didn't see anything that gave us any concern that we were not spending city monies on city business. And so then we're just looking to make sure that we're following our purchasing guidelines. Once again, I mentioned about the grants. There are requirements related to the way you spend grant monies. We're obviously spending a lot of time looking at those. And once again, glad to report that there isn't anything that we're concerned about in the way that the city is spending its monies. Okay, so let me just briefly go through numbers, and I will remind this board that this is as of June. This board is very aware the state requires us to put its money in several different, what we accountants call funds. The most important fund, and the one from a financial standpoint that we as auditors are most concerned about, is the water and sewer fund. So there on page 19, you've got three columns: the water and sewer fund, the electric system, which is required to be in the city's audit, but we're not concerned about them tonight. And you can just see there, you can see revenues at the top, kind of expenses in the middle, and then you come down 3/4 of the way down the page, and there's a line that says change in that position. That's just a government's way of saying profit and loss. And it is so nice to see that once again it is a positive number, plus 536. This board is very aware that when it comes to the utility fund, in our case water and sewer, required by state law to show a profit. You can't lose money 2 years in a row. That's not been a concern here in Smithville. But once again, we have met the state requirement about the water and sewer system being profitable. So that is terrific news. Let's kind of do the same thing. I want to have you turn back a couple more pages. Page 16. We're going to kind of do the same thing, just to talk about. And in this case, we're going to talk about the general fund, which is where most of the monies go to. And then the police department has a small drug fund that's really insignificant. But there on 16, kind of the same thing. Revenues at the top, expenses there in the middle. And then there is that third line from the bottom. It says net change in fund balance. And you can see it has parentheses around it. Parentheses are generally not good. There is no such requirement for the general fund because it's not a utility to show a profit. You can see during the year we did spend $722,000 more than we took in, but, and this is a significant but, if you look in the middle of that page, there is a category called capital outlay, and it's got it broken down by departments. Capital outlays are things you don't buy from time to time, and you can see we made some significant, I'm going to call them investments. You can see that we spent, once again, for capital improvements, big asset purchases, $372,000 in the police, $760,000 in the parks, over $200,000 for the fire. You look at streets, State Street Aid and highways and streets, over $1.3 million. Those are not things we're going to be doing every year. And so needless to say, if you didn't have those significant expenditures, have a huge surplus. But that's what the funds are for. That's what the property tax and the sales tax does. And it's just an example of, matter of fact, let me just see I want to see what the total number is. Let me add these up in my head. I don't have to add them up there. Just to give you an idea, that was $2.8 million of items that we're not going to buy on a year-to-year basis that, once again, this board felt that it was appropriate to do. So commend the board on doing that. Just one or two last things. Just want to talk about, got to find the page. So sorry, let me have you turn to page 64. Just to give an idea of what I'm going to call the financial strength that the city has. Here on this page 64, it's going to show you at June 30th the funds that were in the bank. So in the general fund, once again, that's that big fund that has the property taxes and sales tax. You can see $5.5 million. Great. Below that, the drug fund just has a little money. You can see the water and sewer fund, $6.5 million. That's great. And then once again, that's the electric system below, but we're not concerned. So even with the significant investments that this board made in the infrastructure of the city, you still have significant funds left over to do additional things as they do come up. This report has been filed with the state. It was due December 31st, and it was there on time. I do like to mention that my name and phone number is on page 1 of this report, and if there's ever a citizen, this report is on the comptroller's website, if there's ever a citizen that wants to call me directly and talk about the city's finances, we're always glad to do so. If you want my email address, Ben has that, and he would be glad to pass that along to you. Mayor, I don't know if it's appropriate, a lot of information quickly, but I'd be glad to answer any questions if there are any questions.
Oh, absolutely. Any discussion?
All right, thank you. One last comment, man. I just want to appreciate Ben and the ladies in the office. They're just terrific to work with. They're very straightforward in questions we ask and things we want to look at. So really made the audit an easy thing. So
Thank you, Mr.
for the
Poole.
time.
Thank you.
For the delay.